Lumen point. Let's begin the breakdown.
Think about the last time you heard someone say, "Oh, an AI will never be able to do that," right? Maybe it was writing a poem, or composing music, or even just holding a conversation that felt real. For decades, we've been drawing these lines in the sand just to watch AI calmly step right over them. So what are the real limits? Do they even exist? Let's take a look at the ever-moving goalposts of AI.
There's this fantastic piece of advice that really sets the stage for our whole conversation today. Don't bet against AI unless, of course, you want to be wrong. And man, is that true. It's the perfect starting point, because we're going to look back at a long, long history of bets that humanity has made against the machine and lost.
So first up, let's rewind a bit. We're going to look at some of those major barriers, the things people swore were impossible, that AI has already completely shattered. The first huge wall people put up was reasoning. For the longest time, the idea that a machine could engage in complex, strategic problem-solving just like a human, well, that was pure science fiction. The big question was, could a computer ever truly reason?
Well, that wall came tumbling down all the way back in 1997. Remember this? IBM's Deep Blue defeated the world chess champion, Garry Kasparov. And this was so much more than just a game. It proved that deep, strategic reasoning, something we thought was uniquely human, could absolutely be mastered by a machine. And get this, that was over a quarter of a century ago.
Okay, so AI could conquer pure logic. But what about the messy, complicated, and often illogical world of human language? I mean, could a machine ever really get the hang of idioms, puns, or even just a simple joke? The journey here has just been incredible. It all started back in 1965 with a chatbot named Eliza, which could only mimic a conversation using some pretty simple pattern matching. Then, you fast forward to 2011, and you've got IBM's Watson winning Jeopardy, a game that's all about understanding complex puns and tricky wordplay. And today, we have generative AI that can figure out what we're trying to say, our intent, and sometimes even anticipates what we need before we do. That is a massive leap from just mimicking to something that feels a whole lot like real understanding. But what about creativity? That's the big one, right? The common argument is that AI just remixes what it's been fed. But let's be honest, isn't that kind of what human artists do too? We are all influenced by the art, the music, the stories we take in. Generative AI works in a similar way, drawing from these huge data sets to create something new. The process might be different, but that core idea of building on what came before, that's something we share. So we've seen AI take on logic, language, and even creativity. But to really get a handle on where it's going next, and to understand the challenges that are still out there, we need a simple framework for how intelligence is built. Let's look at the journey from raw data all the way up to wisdom. Okay, people often call this the DIKW pyramid. At the very bottom, you got raw data. It's just facts without any context, like the numbers 10, 6, 42, and 8. Now, give that data some context, let's say those are the ages of people in a room, and bam, you have information. Now, interpret that information. Hey, most of the people in here are under 21, and now you've got knowledge. But the very peak of the pyramid is wisdom. That's applying that knowledge to make a good decision, like, okay, let's choose some age-appropriate games for this group. Each step builds on the last, adding more and more meaning. So where does today's AI fit into this pyramid? Well, it absolutely crushes it at the knowledge level. It can process insane amounts of information and spot patterns that we could never, ever see. But that final step, wisdom, that's the real frontier. Applying knowledge with purpose, with judgment, with real-world context, that's what AI is striving for right now. And that brings us right up to the present day. What are the big, hairy, complex problems that AI engineers are trying to solve as we speak? One of the biggest limitations you hear about is something called hallucination. This is basically when an AI model confidently states something that's just completely wrong or totally nonsensical. It's a weird side effect of how these models work, and it's a huge hurdle for making them reliable. The good news is we're getting way better at tackling this. Researchers are coming up with all these clever ways to keep AI grounded in reality. For instance, one method is basically like giving the AI an open book exam. It can access a library of verified info to double-check its answers. Another cool approach uses a whole team of specialized AIs, where each one is an expert on a specific topic. The goal for all of these techniques is the same: make AI more trustworthy, more reliable. And then you have this really fuzzy area of emotional intelligence, or EQ. Modern AI can simulate an understanding of human moods and expressions, and it's gotten so good that some people have formed real emotional connections with chatbots. But here's the billion-dollar question. Is it genuine understanding,
Or is it just a really, really convincing simulation? Honestly, that's still a huge open debate.
All right, let's zoom out and look even further ahead. Beyond the engineering problems of today lie these profound, almost philosophical challenges that are going to define the entire next generation of AI research.
These are the next giant mountains for AI to climb. We're talking about the big ones, like artificial general intelligence, or AGI, where a single AI could be as versatile and adaptable as a person. Then you get into the really deep stuff: true consciousness, self-awareness, real wisdom, and just plain old common sense. And finally, the things that make us feel human: deep emotions like joy and loss, and physical sensations like taste and touch. These are the grand challenges, the new impossibles.
So, with all of this on the horizon, what's our role in all this? I think it's absolutely crucial that we see AI not as some competitor we have to fear, but as an unbelievably powerful tool that we get to direct. And that brings us to this core idea of a partnership. It's actually pretty simple. Our job as humans is to define the what and the why. We set the goals. We provide the purpose and the values. The AI's job is to figure out the how, to do the heavy lifting, to execute, to optimize at a scale we can't even imagine. It's this incredible tool, but it's a tool that needs our direction. Which leads us to the final and maybe most important question. Those goalposts, they're going to keep moving. The technology is going to keep getting better and better. The power to give it purpose, though, that's in our hands. So the real question isn't what AI can do. It's what will we ask it to do next.
Fuel your curiosity. Subscribe for the explanation. Stay for the knowledge.